Hey guys.
Hey.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to live off-grid? Well, we had the opportunity to go off-grid for a whole week, and so in this video we're going to share with you what our experiences were.
Yeah, so we went on a show called Rich Holiday, Poor Holiday on Channel 5, Season 4, Episode 4. And the idea of the show basically is that you're trying to see if money does buy happiness, and two families get to swap holidays. Mm-hmm. People who normally go on a nice holiday go on a quote-unquote poor holiday, and then the other family go on another holiday to experience a luxurious type of holiday. So we went on an off-grid holiday and just explain what off-grid actually meant in the context of what we did.
Yes, so in the context of what we did, off-grid meant no electricity, no running water, no access to, heating, gas, it was literally off-grid. So we stayed in a yurt.
Yeah.
So a yurt is basically, it's like this wooden, just wooden building. Really.
Yeah.
And inside you just have a bed, you have a wood stove burner, very basic.
Wood burner.
We didn't have a sink, we didn't have a tap, we didn't have a shower, we didn't have a toilet. Everything else was outside. So you had to go out to use a shower, go out to use a toilet.
And the toilet had sawdust in it, so there's no flushing toilet.
It's called like a compost or something. There's a name for the kind of toilet.
Old school, basically.
Very old school, yeah.
So, this is what off-grid life looks like. Hey, hon.
Hello.
This is the yurt. Again, a little reminder. Yeah, this is where we're living. This is the heating. Ouch. Let's put some wood in there. Boil some water. Cook our meals. Use a lot of wood fire. A lot of wood in here for cooking. Dining. Living room. Bedroom. Chill out area. Let's see, outside. That's the yurt. See it? Flip around so you can see it properly. So that's where we're living. We sometimes cook our dinner here. Dining table. Toilet, his and hers. Gym, workout space, space to wash up. Got some washing up liquid. Come outside. There's the bathroom here. I've just lit the fire because there's no electricity. Being off grid, there's no gas, no central heating, nothing like that. This is a bath. In here, that's a shower. You can hear the flames. I've just lit this. See that? You put some wood in there and wait about 20 minutes. So I use that as the lighter. So yeah, quick little tour.
Yeah. Now, if you've watched the show, we want to see you react in the comments. We absolutely enjoyed making the show. For us, the show was all about showing that we can live a financially joyful life on a small budget and remain happily married.
Right.
Been married happily for 13 years and counting, and we made it through the show.
We did.
But we'd love to hear you guys react in the comments. How did you find the show? What really stood out for you? Just let us know in the comments. That'd be really helpful. But for today's video, we're just going to share all the bits that they didn't talk about on the show, as well as obviously sharing like what our experience was living off-grid for 1 week. If that sounds great, please hit the subscribe button, like the video as well whilst you're watching. Okay, so what was the first thing? Like, let's just get to it. This is very casual. We've written some notes here on our notepads. So what was the first thing? Like, what did we learn from this off-grid experience?
One thing we immediately learned was that you're forced to slow down. So like I mentioned, there was no running water.
There's water outside.
There's water outside.
Not in where you're living.
And it was cold. It's freezing cold.
Yeah.
But nothing is instant, right? So you've got no kettle, you've got no microwave, You've got a wood burner. There's a name for the type of cooker, but you have to light it first. You have to light a fire, wait for it to burn, wait for it to heat up and build heat before you can then start cooking, which there's a process involved. So if you wanted to, for example, make a cup of tea, you have to go through that process. All of that just to make your cup of tea. The shower. Same with the shower. Yeah, what we experienced, it was a big shock for us. You couldn't just like walk in with your towel and then just expect hot water. You had to again light the fire, and it took 45 minutes to then heat up the water. We need to set a 20-minute timer. If we've done it well, then in 20 minutes time, this is going to be boiling hot. If we've done it well. 45 minutes from when you light it, and I think in that process what it taught me was that you appreciate the process. You have to, because it's not instant. I'm really gonna enjoy this shower and savor every moment. This lesson goes beyond just the daily conveniences. It also applies to things like your business or, you know, your marriage, life, whatever those goals are that you're trying to achieve. It just teaches you patience and enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, and not just thinking about the destination or the end goal.
Love that. Okay, so
what was yours?
My point was that off-grid living can happen with a little bit of money. Now, let me explain context here. So when we were there, one thing we learned by speaking, because obviously TV shows focus more on entertainment, so they don't really show, there's a lot of footage that's not shown. And one thing we learned was by speaking to other people who were also living there. We met a couple who were really nice and who lived in the yurt. And by the way, I'll pause for a moment and just shout out the yurt where we lived at. Was called a place called Mill Valley Yurts.
Yeah.
Shout out to Neil and Lisa.
Amazing guys.
Amazing guys. We're gonna pop on the screen. Shout out to them because, firstly, people go to these yurts for their holidays, and they are beautiful for if you want a particular type of experience. Okay, so definitely go and check them out. I'll link below for more details. But over there, we met people, and this is the interesting bit: is we met a young millennial couple. Who were tired of the rat race. They were tired of the system, being part of this cogwheel, being part of this system where you're just part of a debt system where everything is, every single month you're paying every single direct debit. You just feel like you're chained to a system and can never eject yourself out. And they got fed up of that. Yeah. And so what they did instead was they basically effectively sold up and started renting a space, a piece of part of a lot of land in this venue where we were. They were basically renting a piece of, came to an arrangement with the owners. And as a result of that renting a piece of land, they started to build their own home. And it's really inspiring to see that these guys had done something completely unconventional. And their costs were, so they're off-grid, so they don't have conventional electricity and gas and heating, but they had solar panels installed. They were planting their own things around the house. They were building, a bit like having like carpentry skills. They acquired like carpentry skills and building various things. So for me, it was very inspiring to see that a millennial couple in the UK had said, I've had enough of the system. I'm ejecting myself and I want a slower pace of life, and I can do it without a lot of money. That was a big lesson for me.
So the next point is that you're forced to go on a digital detox and just switch off. So where we were, there was no electricity, like we mentioned. Yes, we had the solar panels that gave us some light during at night time, but we had no plug sockets
for 10 minutes.
Was it for? It was more than
literally,
that.
if you put the switch on, that bulb would stop working. Then the thing would
It was more than 10 minutes, but it was a short period of time. So but there's no plug sockets. We didn't know this coming in. So if we'd known, maybe we would have had a battery pack, and there was no Wi-Fi. The reception is not the best, if I remember correctly. So you're just kind of like forced to switch off. And the benefits of that is just, it makes you notice your surroundings more. You notice the birds. Like we kept commenting how many, we kept on hearing birds chirping. You just notice that the air is nice and clear. You see the stars at night, and it just makes you more aware of your environment, really.
And also, I think it helps you hear more of your own thoughts.
Oh, yes.
And have your own thoughts. Because a lot of the time, a lot of our thoughts are driven by what the next algorithm recommended to you, or what you heard somebody else say, or whatever. But having that digital detox, I just feel like what I remember very clearly is that you were just in your own space.
Yeah, exactly.
And you felt you had more time to just be and do whatever. And being could just be going into nature and, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And I think that's something that's often missed in the faster pace of everyday living.
The next one I wanted to share was that you need to be a particular kind of person to live the off-grid life.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
I realized straight away as soon as we got there that this is a very different kind of life, and you need to be that person who is like completely against materialism. Like you're happy to be completely like cut off from the weight of the world, as it were. And to be that kind of person, it can also bring loneliness, actually, because you're by yourself, you're kind of secluded in a weird way a little bit. So I guess the thing I've learned here is that for this to work, you need to also have a community of people who are also living that kind of lifestyle. So we met locals, and this was not captured on the show, but we experienced it. People who were living locally in Cornwall, where we were, they'd source their own meat, like they'd go hunting, they'd grow their own food, they'd create their own cider, for example. They were very entrepreneurial people and resourceful people in Cornwall, where we had this off-grid experience. And that created a community where people felt like they knew each other and they genuinely took interest in each other, So I feel like if you're going to do this kind of stuff, you have to be prepared to really radically change your life, really kind of get away from that kind of 9 to 5 way of thinking. And I need to have a mortgage, I need to have, all this kind of traditional way that people live their lives, and almost embrace a different way where you're like, I can create my own income, I can create my own business, I can, half my day might be spent building my house or whatever, doing of some of my land and, planting some, vegetables or whatever. You need to have that you need to be that kind of person for this to become real.
Absolutely. And it's right. You're right in saying that you have to be a particular type of person. I've always wanted, like even before doing this experiment, I've always wanted to, go off grid. But it was nice to be able to experience what it could truly be like if we ever did it. So it's a good point. My next point is that you become more resourceful. So like Ken mentioned, the electricity only lasting 10 minutes, but you really only ever use or switch on the light when you absolutely need to.
Me too.
And you're just more conscious.
I remember that.
So
they didn't capture any of this on the show.
They didn't capture it, but there were like the first night we got we didn't realise that obviously the light wouldn't last forever. The electricity and the solar. And so we were in a situation where at night it was just
it was dark.
Pitch black. We had to use our torch to walk around, and for it being the first night, it was quite scary. We could hear a lot of scratchings on the door, but
animals climbing over the top.
But by day 2 and day 3, we were able to make it last long because we were just more mindful. And obviously we didn't have a traditional type of fridge or freezer, so we just made sure that our food lasted and it didn't go off. We were just more mindful of our resources and making it last.
I think that's powerful what you're saying there, is that you're effectively becoming more resourceful because of your environment.
Exactly. And it reminded us of like everyday things which we took for granted. Which was like you switch the light on and you know that it's going to give you light.
You flush the toilet and the toilet flushes.
It does its
you
thing.
turn the heating on and your heating turns on in maybe 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. Your house warms up. But that convenience, this is another point, comes at a cost.
It does.
Right? If you think about it, all of what we just said there is effectively convenience. The fact that you've got an oven that like you press a button, it just comes on, comes at a cost. And
because you're relying on a system.
Yes, exactly. So people do have to choose. You have to choose what do I want ultimately? Do I want to pay the cost of the convenience? Yeah. And to what extent do I want to pay that cost? Because some of us are just like so jacked up in terms of costs for all this convenience that we can't even sustain it. And this is why some people are going the other way and going, actually, I don't want all of those conveniences anymore. I want a slower pace, and I'm happy to let go, pay less, and kind of just make do.
But then you get something else as a result of that, in that you feel empowered. You feel like you're more in control, and you're not having to rely on a system for running water, for electricity. Like, you're empowered. You're in control of your life, and that's a great feeling. That's a great feeling to have on a daily basis.
And happier.
And you're happier, yeah.
Because it's interesting, because thinking about it, when we were in the yurt and having this off-grid experience, everybody we met felt happier and a lot less stressed.
Yes.
I think this is the thing that we haven't even hit we haven't talked about, is that everyone just felt a lot calmer. The couple we talked about, we'd see them, they'd be smiling all the time. They just felt a lot more relaxed, and that idea of being amongst nature. Yeah. Something about that was really nice. The couple who owned the place where we were, they had a young family as well. Yeah. Something about just not being driven by the news and all the noise, all the social media, all the all that stuff.
But we're not trying to romanticize this at all, and it is actually hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
It's hard, but it's rewarding at the same time. So just have to put it out there.
I was going to make this point about, which is that off-grid living can also be a little bit expensive. But let me just point out what I mean. So the point here is, because we couldn't turn the heating on and what have you, we had to obviously burn wood, right? Yeah. So one bag of wood, which we would buy, would cost around £8 for a bag. And because we like our heat, and it was cold when we filmed this show. It was freezing in May.
But it was cold May, not warm
May. It was cold May. We would get through one bag in one day, which would imply £8. Actually, sometimes maybe one bag if we're being conservative.
For the shower,
a day, maybe a bag and a half.
And we had to light it at night, so we had to heat throughout the whole.
Yeah, and then to boil water to cook or to have a tea or whatever. Yeah. So I'd probably say we bought maybe a bag and a half for a day, right?
We quickly ran out of money, so we had to work for it.
Eventually. Yeah, we had to work for that wood.
Woohoo! Well done, babe. You're a pro already.
But the point still remains in that if you were doing this as your lifestyle, you'd have to buy wood or find a way of getting wood. And
yourself.
Speaking to the locals, some of that wood we were using had been grown for 25 years. Yeah. Right? So think about it. It's like, wow, okay, so if I'm using one bag a day, it's costing £8 roughly, and then you can buy wood a bit cheaper depending on where you buy wood more generally. But the point remains in that there is a cost.
There's a cost.
Heating costs money, wood costs money. So there is that bit of money kind of running in the background, but it's a lot cheaper than paying £300 direct debit for electricity and gas and being told about the cost cap and all this stuff that you have to do within the UK. And feeling slightly out of control with your heating bills. I still feel, even though that off-grid life costs money from a heating perspective, it's still cheaper. Yeah.
Final point is that joy doesn't have to be expensive. When you're on a budget, it makes you get creative.
Yes.
So one of the scenes that you didn't see, or if you haven't watched the show, there was a day when the owner of the yurt hosted an amazing barbecue, like you said, where they invited people in the community. It wasn't on the show, but something as simple as sharing a meal became such a wonderful experience. So everyone brought their own kind of dish.
Yes.
There was a guy that created his own
cider. Yeah, locally made cider in Cornwall.
Yeah, and it was amazing, just bringing everyone together when you're stripped off of your luxuries, your daily luxuries, simple things like community, shared stories. We just spent hours talking to people, getting to know them, and that connection, that's what truly matters. All of the laughter, those are the things that matter most, and it's free. It's absolutely free.
Now, I wanted to say, the point about community is really, really powerful. The specific event that Mary is referring to was the owner of the yurt basically spent probably 24 hours slow cooking some locally sourced meat.
Yeah.
Which I thought, just think about it, just pause for a moment, right? And just
grass finished.
Like organic. This is not like meat in like a packet that you bought and you put it into your microwave or oven or whatever and cooked it in like 30 or 45 minutes. This is 24 hours slow cooking, taking time and putting a lot of love and energy into creating something that will serve the local community.
Yeah.
And it was really, really special to see that love and energy that went into that.
Yeah.
That again is something that we have, I think, generally as a society lost touch with, is this idea of this slower pace of life, this slower cooking, this slower enjoyment of life and the pace of life. And to your point, community, bringing everybody together and everybody bringing their various bits, bringing their stories, bringing their locally sourced food. I just think, Oh, and about experiences. So we did about 5 experiences on the show, on Rich Holiday, Poor Holiday. Go and watch it, please. Again, links below. Thanks to Channel 5, thanks to Emporium Productions for inviting us. Big shout out to you guys. Really, really like massive, huge impact on our lives being invited to do this show. But we did these experiences, and these experiences were low cost. And this is the beauty about it. So even if you don't have a lot of money, the point we're making is that the joy came from sourcing those low cost experiences that were local, exactly. And finding things to do.
Yeah, exactly. And the place where the yurt was situated was 15 minutes away from a beautiful beach in Cornwall. There was also like lakes, streams where you can just go for a walk, or just like go for hikes. So many things that you can do that's actually very great for your mental health, great for your well-being, and great for your pockets too.
Exactly. And we met people. We met a couple on the beach.
Okay, go on.
I was just saying, we met this couple on the beach who were, they want to hear our story. They were really intrigued that we'd become mortgage free and effectively created our kind of, I don't know how to describe it, our way of almost ejecting ourselves out of the system. They had gone about their own way. They were mortgage free and they were living, they even had a yurt at the back of their house. So it was good meeting people like that who live a very low cost life, but as a result of that, the stress levels in their lives were a lot more reduced. They'd sit at the beach. I remember clearly they had their own cups of tea at the beach, the floss, just sitting there, not looking at the clock and going, oh no, I need to go back to work or whatever. So this slower pace of life was just very desirable.
Exactly. And you reminded me that within the compound of our yurt, there was also a family that were there on holiday. So they had a boy and a girl around the same age as our boys. And it made me miss our boys so much. I wish they could take part in this experiment, but they just wanted couples to do it. But this family, they were on holiday. They chose to stay in a yurt as part of their holiday, and it was just so interesting observing them. They didn't want to be on camera, but it was just so amazing observing them. The boy and the girl, they spent hours with their dad just playing with a frisbee. They spent all day outdoors, so they clearly didn't mind the cold. They had their breakfast, lunch and dinner outdoors. They literally spent 90% of it, apart from when they were sleeping, outdoors, chilling on the balcony, all day. And that was their fun.
That was
Which is amazing. My friend, my good friend Sham, she recently went on a yurt holiday. So this is a millennial, who can afford expensive holidays. She went on a holiday, she stayed in a yurt as well, similar kind of accommodation. But this is just to say that people actually do this as by choice, whether it's a holiday or whether it's to live. It's actually a choice that people find enjoyment. It's rewarding for them. They find joy in this experience. So it's definitely something that we say that you should experience once at least in your lifetime. When we got used to it eventually, when we got past all of the
probably on day
the
5.
Stress,
day 5.
We got used to it just before we were about to leave.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're kind of settling in. It's funny because that was actually one of the points I was going to make on my notes, which is that there is a transitional period. Because in the first 2 days we were kind of butting heads.
It was hell.
First 2 days were like, it was this frustration.
It really
was. Simple things like trying to make your porridge.
This is our lunch. Sourdough bread, toasting.
The natural way.
Oh snap! It burned quick.
That's like level 6 at home in the toaster. You need to get them.
Or try, you're used to things happening at a particular pace, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm gonna check my emails. No, you can't do any of that.
Forced to slow down.
You're forced to slow down.
Yeah.
And so that meant we butted heads a little bit on actually probably day one, isn't it? It's got a bit of friction.
Yeah.
Not butting heads, but a little bit of friction. Because, come on, so there is a transitional period if you're someone who's used to your conveniences and your pleasantries and what have you, and suddenly all that gets taken away. Stripped away. And if you're a couple, it can lead to a few little yeah. You don't remember much of this, do you?
Clearly, I don't remember
next nothing. Okay. Anyway, that didn't get captured because obviously.
Okay, end of day 2.
End of day 2.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also feeling a bit homesick.
Okay.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, today's been phenomenal, like from all the activities we've done. I'm just missing some luxury.
What kind of stuff are you missing?
Do you know what? It's not even luxury, it's just like everyday things that I take for granted. Just
like what?
Just like having a running tap.
Yes.
Hot water running out of the tap. Like just having a sink, a kitchen,
Yeah.
Like just
washing up liquid.
we've got just my stuff.
Hand wash, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like such first world problems.
And it is, it is. But you also have to think, well, you have to give yourself some credit. We've been able to adjust to a new environment and sleep in a yurt. About a day ago, we didn't know what a yurt was.
I know, right?
We slept in a yurt.
Progress.
And yeah, we're adjusting. It's not quite what we're used to, but we're gradually adjusting, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I hear you though, about the homesick, which is normal.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel homesick.
It is, isn't it? Alright, I need to go wash my face now. Brush my teeth.
You can skip one night of not washing your face.
Yeah, let's just go in.
Going on that experience really changed our life. So the way we holiday, we now will have a mix. So we will deliberately look for really low cost holidays. So that holiday on the show cost us £604, I think, something like that. We will, and that was for a whole week, including food, experiences. Like we actually budgeted like our shopping bill, and I'm so gutted they didn't show this.
Yeah.
I did this whole shopping, but all this organic stuff for Mary and I for the whole week, and it cost £22.
Yeah.
Managed to keep it in budget.
Yeah.
It meant we had to think and buy like lentils and like we had to eat in a particular way.
It wasn't too far off from what we'd ordinarily have.
Yeah. But we made it happen.
We made it happen.
Yeah. But the point is, like, the off-grid thing is, I think you don't have to go to all extremes. You don't have to say, I'm just living a modern life only, or I'm only living off-grid. They're not like mutually exclusive. I think you can kind of achieve a bit of a blend, which is where simple living is very appealing as a lifestyle, and it's something that we already do and will do even more of, I believe, as a result.
Absolutely. And you obviously can also still have a 9 to 5 and still go off grid as well, so it's also not mutually exclusive.
But yeah, we want to hear from you guys in the comments. If you really enjoyed it actually and watched up to this part of the video, what should people drop as an emoji in the chat?
Oh, I was going to say a spider, but maybe not.
No.
A spider, if you've watched the show, you'll know why.
Yeah, so maybe just drop like a tree emoji off grid.
Okay.
Drop a tree emoji.
A tree or a leaf.
Yeah, drop
No,
a tree. Drop a tree emoji in the chat if you made it to this part of the video. This gives us a signal that you're one of the OGs, you're really like one of the troopers.
Yeah, but don't just leave a tree. Obviously, like, comment, let us know what stood out to you.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone off grid? Is it something you're currently doing?
Do you desire doing it?
Do you desire doing it? And also, did you watch our show? What did you think of it?
Yeah.
I literally watched it with my eyes closed. I don't know why, but yeah, let us know what you thought of the show if you watched it too in the comments, and let's have a chat.
If you're somebody who enjoyed this video, which is more lifestyle focused, we think you'll enjoy this video here about a day in our lives. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, in all things be thankful and seek joy. Take care, people. Bye.